Welcome, everybody. It's the Blue Book. It's been a long time because, we have lives outside of this life. But we're here and we're back
Yeah.
with you guys. So let me introduce everybody. If you forgot, I don't know why you would because we're so unforgettable. But my girl from the East, Pretty Girl County, Mylan Clement, head girl. Yay. Yeah. All the way from Calais, hey, Veve. Milan Moshe, all the way from the south, and you already know she's always got something to say. So what's up? Hey, Ilana, me, don't you wanna hang out with me all day? Yeah, yay. And of course, our Nova babe, our special guest from Haymarket, Virginia, Ava Ray. Woo! Yes. And we begin. So Avery, can you give us a brief introduction of who you are and why you're here?
Okay. So I guess I guess you would say I'm a womanist and an artist, and I'm working to become a therapist, at least for people with special needs. So yeah, I've always loved reading and telling stories, and I got into writing at a pretty young age, and I always wanted to publish a book, so I've finally got it done when I was finishing up college.
Nice. I love it. When writing your book, who do you write for? Do you write? I mean, as some people write for themselves. Are you writing for an audience? Are you writing for who are you writing for?
I think with the poetry, I'm usually writing for myself, but I'm working on some short stories, and I try to think of the audience more when I do that. I mean, I think of the audience a little bit when I do poetry, but I do a lot of poetry as I journal, so it's very self-reflective, if that makes sense.
Have you done performances with your poetry?
No. Wait, yes, I've done one at my church. It was actually a poem that I made after I finished Blumaniterrian, so it's probably going to go into my second book, which I'm working on. But it was for the seniors ministry, the seniors at my church, so it was focused on basically respect and honor for people, who've lived longer and have more experience.
Why is it called Blumaniterrian?
So, I wanted to, I guess, combine some issues that I thought were really important with the poem Blumaniterrian, and then I named it after the book. So the poem is about how partially at least about how I enjoy giving back and helping people, but also being healthy. So the blue is basically my favorite color, and it can symbolize harmony and well-being. And then the humanitarian part is about giving back, and then the centenarian part is about people who live to be over 100 and have lived pretty healthy lives. So I combined the spelling for blue, humanitarian, and centenarian.
Who's your audience?
I wasn't sure for a while, but I think it's mostly women, especially women of color. But I do have some guy friends who have said they felt like my poetry moved them.
So, how long have you been writing?
At least since 5th grade, because I was inspired by my 5th grade English teacher, who is a poet, and I was at a small Black Christian elementary school, and she was already one of my favorite, like basically my favorite teacher. and I think I was the teacher's pet, so we already got along great, and she was really lively and fun, and she shared some of her poetry with us, poetry she'd written, and she got us to compete in some competitions, including like a local one where we submitted some poetry and writing. So after that, I just started writing some poetry on my own at home.
What do you think is do you have like a writer's quirk? Or you have a special signature or, a certain style of writing?
It's very freestyle. Sometimes it rhymes and then sometimes it doesn't. I've tried to make some poems that are made to look a certain type of way, so the verses make a shape, but that doesn't usually happen because I think a lot of my poetry, I use a stream of consciousness, so it's just very free form.
No more. As a writer, are you self-conscious of the work that you create? Are you more scared to share the work that you produce, or do you see yourself kind of keeping it close to the chest?
I'm excited about publishing. I've always wanted to do that. I think for a long time I was shy about spoken word, and I tried to go to a spoken word event like not too long before COVID really hit, but they were booked and they tried to squeeze me in at the end, but they were too busy, so the last performance went over their time. So I think this pandemic has kind of motivated me, so hopefully I'll perform a lot more in the future. But I did get a little bit of practice at my last couple churches. Like I said, I did the one for the seniors, and I did a bunch of like Easter poetry recitals when I was a kid at my old church, but those were poems that were written by other people.
What inspires you the most to write? I get intrigued by the irony of things, or just my emotions. So a lot of my poems come out of bitterness or sorrow or joy. Like it could be heartache or heartbreak, or it could be stress or grief. Like I wrote a poem that was put on like the back of in the back or the middle of like the program for my grandma's funeral. I think that's one of my favorite poems. So, but I have some that are about when I felt like I was falling in love, or when I felt really excited about something. So it just it can go with emotions, or with something funny or interesting that happened that day, or something interesting that's a social issue in general, like in the nation or in the world, that I want to express myself about.
Who are your writing idols?
Growing up, it's always been Maya Angelou, but I got back into writing again more in college because of Insta poets, so poets on Instagram like Nayyirah Waheed and Rupi Kaur, because they have really short poems, but they're very straight to the point. And I don't know, I started kind of mimicking that, and then going back to my usual poems that are longer.
I noticed that your poems are the names are on the bottom and there's numbers. Can you explain what's the meaning behind that?
I think Rupi Kaur and Nayyirah Waheed put their titles at the bottom, and I thought that was smart because they that lets the reader sort of get to figure out what they think of the poem first, and what they think the title might be, and then having the title might surprise them, or actually, or not surprise them, just depending on how they interpret it. And the numbers are the dates. If I couldn't think of a title that felt fitting, I would just put the date that I wrote it.
Okay, so you mentioned God through your work. How has your faith inspired your writing, or do you see or use poetry as a way to gain spiritual enlightenment?
Oh, I think I use it for my mental and social health, but that's still affected by my faith and spiritual health. So I think it's a reflection of, if I feel down, it's still a reflection of the overall peace I still have from my Christian faith. Because I think especially I think in my upcoming book, I try to also express some of my rebellious side, because some of my poetry, I might be upset with men or with the patriarchy, and then I might express, more of my disappointment or resentment or whatever in writing, because sometimes I don't always vocalize it, and people think I'm quiet, but that doesn't mean I always agree with whatever's being said. Yeah, did that answer the question?
Yeah, that's definitely a great answer. It's very nice to or refreshing to read book, because of course I read it in order. And I know we've had a conversation before, because I asked you was there an order to this to your poems, and there was not necessarily.
No.
I read it like it was a book, and so I was like, oh wow, so many emotions, like a roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, every day is different, and some of the poems are from the last few years, but some of them were from high school or middle school. But most of it is from mid or late college.
How do you feel? Do you feel like your experience in college shaped you in some way in your poetry, and if so, how?
Yeah, because college was when I learned more about respecting myself, and also when I started dating a lot more. I didn't really get to date in high school, so the love and sexuality ones reflect that, and then the ones, maybe some of the ones about social issues, definitely reflect how Spelman taught me a lot about feminism and womanism and the patriarchy and racism and all of that. Having more Black empowerment and women's empowerment.
What does success mean to you?
Okay. What does success? I can be conflicted on that. I think because of capitalism, at first I might think that it means being rich. But for me, overall, I think it means having a good amount of self-love and security in your overall wellness, so that you're gonna be able to have an impact and have a good relationship with your family and with others. And then that usually the finances will follow. The finances or anything else will follow if you know how to take good care of yourself, and you have enough respect to, not be around certain people or have boundaries with people that you're in a relationship with.
Do you ever hear from your readers?
Yeah, because some of my readers are friends of the family or people from my church. So they already have my number or my parents' number. So they might, sometimes they'll text me or talk with me and tell me what they thought of some of the poetry. Yeah, I don't think I've gotten fans or that many readers that I didn't know. Like, I think I made a good amount of sales in 2019 just through some of my family friends and like some of my aunts and uncles and everybody.
Being so vulnerable in your poetry, talking about, you know, your life experiences, personal experiences in regards to relationships, emotions, and even your own sexuality, is it not weird, but is it kind of interesting seeing people that you know read those kind of, not private poems, but those somewhat more intimate poems? And how do you feel about it?
I was nervous, but I figured if anything, it might help me with the sale. And so far, nobody's talked about. I don't think anyone has really talked about or questioned the really personal or sexual ones. So far, none of my family. Only Mylan and one of my friends. And it was not a judgmental comment. So I'm surprised, like, because my grandma is very conservative, but she said she read some of the poems and she was happy that a lot of them talked about God. And my grandma, you know, she'll really speak her mind, so I was scared. You know, she's 90. She came from the Great Depression in the South, so and she can be pretty harsh. Like, she can be very judgmental. So I was nervous. So I don't know if she finished reading everything though.
What did I say?
Oh, you said you liked that I expressed my sexuality.
Okay. I was like, that's great.
I'm very interested to hear what Grandma thinks of the rest of the poems.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the second book that I'm working on has poems that are, some of them are even more sexual and more angry. Like, some of it is like my anger towards Trump or towards society. So I think I don't know if I directly talk about race. Yeah, and some of them I directly talk about race or being Black. And having anger about you know, this country.
Do you have a name for the new book?
The name, I think the name is gonna be Left on Red. I'm not sure though. Yeah.
I think that one is very relatable.
Sure.
It's not relatable. We don't get left on red. Who are you talking about?
I mean, no, I leave people on red.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think in general.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to keep it color related, so it's gonna be RED. So, like, red for bitterness and anger and passion. But also maybe kind of related to ghosting, because I have gone through some breakups. But I don't think I really talk about the breakups that much in this book. I might have to save that for the third book, because I don't want the second book to be too long. Because Blumaniterrian was over 100 pages. I don't want this book to be over 70 or 60.
Well, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I got an idea for the third one. It should be Hello.
Hello, like with yellow, combined with yellow?
Let's do all the primary colors.
Oh. I like
Mm-hmm.
it.
Spice it up.
It's spicy. That's
I really like the blue part because I thought of Spellman and yes, also my
Oh,
well. So I mean, I like all of this. I like the colors thing. You should keep doing that. That makes you
okay.
The whole rainbow.
yeah.
Just get the whole rainbow.
Yeah, I mean, Sienna is brown and Feruzi is turquoise in Tanzanian.
Cool.
And then my baby name.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna stick with blue for the second title, but I don't think I'm gonna do that.
Always come back to the blues and purple rounds.
Yeah. Some of my poems are will talk about colors. There's I think there's a poem about purple, and there's a poem that talks about various colors in Blumaniterrian. Various colors related to how the day felt or related to emotions.
Are you the type of person who like wears a specific color based on their mood?
Yes. Or I do that, or I do the mood that I want myself to get into for the day, because I usually hate the morning. So if I feel gray, I might put on a bright green or orange. Or I might still put on something neutral, but put on a nice like necklace or something. So I'll feel better in a couple hours. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Who's your audience?
I wasn't sure for a while, but I think it's mostly women, especially women of color. But I do have some guy friends who have said like they felt like my poetry moved them. Yeah, I'm not that much of a makeup person, but I like to have jewelry and have clothes that are pretty bright or patterned, or bright and patterned.
Oh, it looks like it's time.
Gosh.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. It's time. Avery, take your hands like this. Oh, she's
Alrighty.
It's been such a lovely combo.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we taking a picture?
Even better.
We're getting ready to close the book. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
2, 3. The book closed.